Hello and welcome back to the Satanist Podcast. Today I have Dan Sheppard, also known as Grumpy Vegan Grandad and star of Veganville. In case you're having the crazy idea of skipping this episode, here's a little clip to keep you interested.
I'm bleeding from my ass.
And there's plenty more of that to come.
So you are Dan Sheppard. When you were 24, your real name was Neil Thompson. You blew up an orphanage in Kenya. You moved to the UK, you changed your name. And now you're promoting the carnivore diet. Did I get all that right?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Yeah, so your name is Reese. You're a posh boy from the southern parts of Wales. You come from a mansion and you've run away to Thailand, where suddenly now you become really, really hard and tough and know that I can't possibly get at you. So this is why you're treating me with so much disrespect.
Yeah, that's right. You've shown up on TV quite a few times, but people probably know you from rummaging around in their bins.
Is this what it's going to be? Is it going to be?
No, it's just this for 45 minutes.
I did do a roast on last Saturday, and you were quite welcome to come on, but you bottled it. So
I know.
So let's have less of the roasting, please, if you want something out of me. And you know I'm very good at the retorts, so you're playing with fire, aren't you? But yeah, my name is Dan. I have been on TV quite a lot, but my pursuit of an acting career has sort of prompted a lot of my TV appearances and getting in the know of what's going on, etc. So yeah. But my main job is truck driving. Mm-hmm. I'm a trucker. I drive around Manchester and the Northwest in a 45 truck trailer. But the reason I'm doing that is because it's agency work and it gives me the flexibility to come and go as I please.
Oh, nice.
As in vegan activism, as in my acting work. Auditions, of course, can pop up at any time. I could get asked to go to London and do an audition or whatever at any time. So I need a job with flexibility. I did leave a job with BT, which was a job for life and a very well-paid job with lots of benefits. And I did leave that to pursue my acting career, much to the dismay of my wife and family. But I've got this calling and I need to act on it.
You've got one life, really, haven't you? You don't want to spend it doing what you don't want to do.
Exactly, mate. And it was my relationship with a young lady at BT that caused me to go vegan. I mean, I think it would have happened anyway. I don't know whether I'm preceding your questions here, mate, or preempting.
Oh, yeah, you go for it.
Yeah, but basically what happened was that while I was working at BT, I'd never even looked at veganism. The last time I came across a vegan was at a wedding, maybe 2008 or 9, and there were two sat at the table at this wedding. And me and my friend Rob, we just ridiculed them, doing the old caveman stuff, you know, man need meat, we need meat. And I was like 15 stone of pure muscle, all due to steroid abuse at the time, stupidly enough. Yeah, I went down that route. But you see, what it is in the Northwest, and I suppose Yorkshire, I suppose it is anywhere really where it's working class environment, there's this mentality of survival of the fittest. Yeah, I went down that track of going to the gym, and then my mate said, well, why don't we try these? And I tried some tablet form steroids, and they must have really agreed with me. I banged a shitload of weight on very, very quickly. I liked how it looked. Then went on to the harder ones, the injections, and got even bigger. And then I noticed the different respect I got off people. That was very addictive. The euphoria.
Different? You mean positive?
Well, at the time, I could have thought it was positive. At the time, maybe, but it was more fear because I'm 6'1". I was built like a brick shit house. And that kind of respect was more a fear. I might as well have walked around with a gun. It was that kind of respect. So it wasn't a positive respect. No, it was a fearful respect. So people moved out of my way, you know.
Right.
It was that kind of thing. And obviously steroids, what steroids actually do are they put you through puberty again. They open up your protein receptors and allow you to take on protein. So they put you through puberty again. You're getting a blast of testosterone. So with that, you're going to get the attitude. I mean, you must remember being a teen and walking with the attitude, and
Yeah.
you saw old people like, you know, and all this bravado that teens have. It's all to do with an influx of testosterone slamming into the body all at once. And this is basically what happens when you have steroids, and also makes your recovery a lot quicker. So you can go to the gym, push a load of weight, a massive amount of weights, and then go back the next day and do exactly the same again. Mass pain, so I got a lot of injuries. So it was a really bad, vicious circle that I got into, and it was I won't say it was regretful. I'm not a person to regret anything I've done in my life, because of who the person I am now. I don't think if I'd have done little different turns in my life, would I have got to this position I am now? And I don't think I would have. So, yeah, back to this couple at the table, giving them all this money, meat and all this stuff. And I never thought in a million years that I would ever assume that you didn't need meat in the diet. And then fast forward to about 2001, my son was born. I've already got a stepladder here, Jake, who's 30 now. He's sat here. Got a stepdaughter, but we had Tyler, my son, and he was born in 2001. And moving up to about 2010, 2011, I looked at him at 11 years old, 12 years old, and I thought, wow, in another 10 years' time, I'm going to be like mid-50s, nearly 60. Do I want to be a burden on my kids? Do I want to be, and this is what was going through my mind. My mortality started hitting home, which happens to everybody when you get to a certain age. I'm thinking about my mortality, and I weren't bothered about kicking the bucket. That's never been an issue with me. I'm not bothered about dying. It's going to happen to everybody. But I didn't want to. Inshore, you see a lot of people with these oxygen bottles because we're all smokers, all drinkers.
Yeah.
I watched my wife's brother die of cancer. Her dad died of Alzheimer's very early, pretty much 2 months apart. I saw this happen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was only like 30s. So you see all this happening and you see all these unhealthy people. So I started worrying about my mortality, and I'm thinking, I'm now reaching the age that I saw those people. Do I want to sort of go down that route? So I watched a film called Juicing for Health. I can't remember what it's called. It's about this guy who went on a juice diet, and he lost an absolute shitload of weight, and he was in America and he looked amazing. So I bought myself a juicer.
Okay.
And I started juicing fruit and vegetables. It all leads on to it, Reese, believe me, honestly. It seems like this story is it's very random, but it's very relevant.
Sure, you're into the plant world now. So you're only consuming juice, is that right?
No, not at all. No, it was more curious. I'm a very curious person. So I started, people say this is absolute fucking stupidness, but I actually started smoking because I couldn't understand addiction, and I've got to understand things.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's I started smoking. It is, but I started smoking because I couldn't understand addiction. How can you get addicted to this? And I got myself addicted and realised how bad it was. And it's like, I would say hedonistic, very hedonistic. I try things. I know I want to explore things, and I'm not scared to explore things, even if they may be dangerous, whatever. So anyway, I thought, I'm going to start juicing fruits and vegetables. So no, I didn't need to lose weight. I've never been overweight. I've been able to eat what I want. I've had a very fast metabolism, ADHD personality. So I've never had a problem with weight. I used to eat donuts for breakfast, bacon butties, Mars bars. That was before 11 o'clock. Then I'd have my 11s, maybe more biscuits. Right. And I never put an ounce on me. I had a 28 waist till I was 30 years old, and that's when I hit the steroids. So I never put weight on. I was a skinny ass, but I ate loads. I started juicing vegetables for the health benefits, and as time went on, I noticed a few things manifesting. So I didn't have the lulls in energy during the day that I normally had, where I felt I could just do with a bit of a kip. My fingernails started growing ridiculously fast. I shaved my head often. I was shaving it twice as often because my hair was growing at an astounding rate. And then I started Googling the vegetables that I was actually juicing and looking at what values they had. And I found out like lots of benefits from certain things, like cucumber, for instance. This is one for you because I know you're a bit of an alky. His cucumber is a great hangover cure.
Really?
It's also, it's very good. If you juice a cucumber, it's very good for rehydrating you. If you get a slice of cucumber and stick it on the roof of your mouth, it releases enzymes that actually freshen your breath. So, and that's just cucumber. Parsley's got amazing properties. Beetroot, my God, I juiced 4 beetroots once. It was pure beetroot juice. That's all it was. Yeah. And I drank it and I went to the gym. When I got to the gym, I started sweating and felt this prickly sensation all over my body. And I felt like I'd had some cocaine or something. I felt really, really hyper. Didn't know what it was. Went and did my gym work, come out, this faded. And then I had another beetroot juice. And when I got to the gym, the same thing happened. I thought, it's the fucking beetroot juice that's caused this. And I found out, like researching beetroot, that it does have this effect. It increases your performance in any sports. It's full of nitrates. It's an amazing stuff. Same with spinach, increases your performance. It was actually on a TV show, the beetroot juice. They showed the beetroot juice on a TV show and showed the amazing sort of influence it had on your athletic performance.
When you were on the beetroot juice, what colour was your pee?
Right, do you know something? Amazingly, if you drink beetroot juice and you pee pink, it means there's something wrong.
Really?
Yes. However, the first time I had beetroot juice and went for a number 2, I screamed down to the wife saying, I'm bleeding from my ass. I really thought I had internal bleeding.
Wow.
So, yes, if you get pink pee, it is a sign that there's maybe something wrong with your waterworks somewhere along the line, because it should filter all that out. But it does manifest itself on the exit in other ways. So there we go. So I'm juicing vegetables. I'm now realising vegetables have amazing properties, and I'm reaping the benefits. So I'm working with this girl called Jane, and at BT, and we're chatting, and I'm talking about these fruits and vegetables. And she said, well, my other half was vegan for a while.
Yeah.
He read this book called Meat is for Pussies. Do you want me to bring it in for you to read? And I'm like, well...
Is that the real name?
That's the real name, Meat is for Pussies. And it's by a guy called John Joseph. He's a New York guy. He was in the punk band, an 80s punk band called the Cro-Mags. And he went to prison. He was a drug addict. He was absolutely a crazy punk in the 80s. And he went to prison and he had this event happen where he talked to a guy and he came out and he became plant-based, and he ended up at 55 years old. This was a few years ago. At 55 years old, beating guys half his age. This is what he says in the book. Guys half his age at Ironman triathlons. Oh, wow. And he's still on Instagram now, John Joseph, if you look him up. So she gave me this book, Meat is for Pussies, and I was a bit dubious. I was like, I don't want to learn about like
vegan propaganda.
Exactly. But I didn't even consider it propaganda. I just thought, what's this book going to tell me? So I started reading this book, and it blew my mind because he didn't mention hugging trees once. He didn't mention ethics once. None of that was mentioned in the book. What he talked about was the pharmaceutical industry and how they patent drugs. And then he talked about how doctors sort of cure after the fact. They cure things. They don't prevent disease. They cure disease by giving you prescriptions, which then go to the pharmaceutical industry, who work hand in hand with the animal agriculture industry, who keep us ill. So it was like this circle of profit off the backs of selling meat, making us ill, curing it, feeding more money back into the... And the pharmaceutical industry influenced governments. The meat industry influenced governments. So this is where and it all made sense. And I thought, wow, have I really been blind to this sort of dubious conspiracy theory that is the only conspiracy theory that I've actually found out is actually true?
Yeah.
It's like, and from that point onwards, I went pescatarian. And that was purely through the protein myth.
Ah, okay. So you didn't think there was much protein in plants?
No, I wasn't at that stage. So basically what happened, I decided to cut out meat completely. And I had one last meal of spaghetti bolognese with a pound of mincemeat. And I ate it, and I felt, because I'd learned to listen to my body, how it felt at this point with the juicing. I'd learned to listen to my body. So I sat there, and I felt lethargic, I felt heavy, I felt bloated, I felt sweaty. So the next day I thought, right, this weekend I'm just going to go vegan for the weekend. And I did. And from that point onwards, I never went back. However, I did stay on fish for a very short period of time after that. I think it was only like a month.
So what made you jack in the fish?
Well, it was a guy who was sort of took a similar journey to me, who's another trucker. And he kept saying to me, you do know there's mercury in fish, there's heavy metals in fish. You do know this. And he started pestering me. I'm like, this Dave, for fuck's sake, man. I said, I've given up meat. I've given up dairy. I've given up eggs. Just leave me alone. I don't want to know. Just leave me alone. And this was the sleeper effect, Reese, because I've dismissed him. I thought, fuck off now. I've done enough now. I've done what I need to do. I've cut out all this shit. And then I started looking, and then I thought, Google it, mercury in fish, mainly in tuna, other heavy metals, PCBs. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, and then I jacked that in. And that was basically it. Then I started looking at the ethical side of it. Watching Joey Carbstrong, watching Earthling Ed, watching all these vegan activists and what they were talking about. I watched Earthlings, I watched Land of Hope and Glory.
What prompted you to look at the ethical side?
Because once you go plant-based, when you start Googling plant-based recipes, plant-based food, because I am a good cook, Reese, I can cook. I've always been a good cook. I've always done dinner parties at the house. I've always cooked beautiful recipes involving animal products and flesh, and I've always been a good cook. So obviously I'm looking online for plant-based recipes to keep my protein levels up and what I can do. As soon as you put plant-based in on a Google search, vegan comes up.
Yeah.
And as soon as vegan comes up, then you get the ethical side of things coming up. And this is why I've always dismissed people who slag other people off for going plant-based, or say you're not vegan, you're plant-based. Don't call yourself vegan, you're plant-based. It doesn't matter. All roads lead to veganism eventually. So I dismiss people who are like that. I don't care. If you go plant-based for health, that's fine. You will eventually go down the path to veganism. You will. It's inevitable. Whether it takes 10 years or 20 years, it doesn't matter. You will go down that route. And by being plant-based in the first place, you are reducing the harm that you're doing to these sentient beings by a massive percentage. So to me,
the reason you do it doesn't change the amount of animals that
no,
you're not
not at all. It works out about 136 animals a year. A single human is responsible for killing, whether they use eggs, dairy, or meat. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's 136 animals a year. So if they go plant-based for a year, they've saved 136 animals. Doesn't matter whether they're doing it for health. I don't give a fuck whether they're doing it for, the leather side of it and the product side of it. Yeah, most products have already been tested on animals. Leather's a byproduct mainly of the meat industry anyway. So that side of it is not ideal, but it's not the root cause. By changing
the food is 3 times a day. That's where you're harming animals the most. So.
That's it. Once you cut that out, then you're having a massive impact on the animal agriculture industry, and this is what we need to do.
I was talking to Vegan Mooncat on the podcast, and he was saying he did it firstly for health, and then similar to you, because he was looking at vegan recipes and stuff, he came across the moral side, started to understand it. And he says if he didn't have the moral side, he might have gone back. But now he can't,
Yeah, of course. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because if I know that my car is powered by 3 puppies, and every time I drive my car, it's whacking those puppies on the head, and you can hear them squealing. And someone tells me, "Oh, your car's powered by 3 puppies," and it smacks them in the head every time you drive it. And I realise that, and I stop. Why am I going to go back to driving the car? Why would I'd walk, I'd get a bike, I'd find another way of transport. I wouldn't go back to the car because I know it's going to cause harm to those 3 little puppies that power my car, I know it's a stupid analogy, but it's best I can think. But you get what I mean. It's like, once you know the truth, how can you go back to abusing any
Yeah.
sentient beings. How can you? You can't do that. So, yeah, and that is the dangerous side of the only dangerous side I see of plant-based is if anybody is plant-based and you do converse with them or talk with them, you should always try and push that ethical side all the time. It should be a priority on your list.
I think maybe when you're cutting out animal products, then it's easier to step back and take a look objectively what's going on.
Once you go plant-based and realize it's not a major effort,
Yeah.
everything else falls into place. It doesn't matter, because a lot of people don't want to see the truth, and this is why the anti-vegan sites are the blinkers of the vegan world. They're the blinkers that non-vegans like to wear. So this is why these anti-vegan channels are so popular, because it tells the non-vegans what they want to hear and not show them the truth. So yeah, that's the bad side. That's the bad side of it is that a lot of people don't want to see the. I mean, like for instance, my son, he doesn't want to watch Game Changers. He wouldn't watch it because he knows it will speak volumes to him, so he won't watch it. You know. So
okay.
yeah, a lot of people don't want to see the truth, and when you talk to people and give them the truth, it's a big statement you're giving to them. You're telling those people, especially people who are on the wrong side of 40 like myself, you're telling them that the whole life has been a lie. I liken it to telling someone they're adopted. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not your dad, she's not your mum. I'm really sorry, your whole life's been a lie. Them are not your brothers and sisters. Your government lied to you. Everybody lied to you. You're not who you thought you were. You're somebody else. And that's what you're basically telling people is that your doctors have lied to you. Your government's lied to you. Every single advert on TV has lied to you. Your mother and father have lied to you. Your grandparents have lied to you. Everything to do with your life and food and fashion and makeup and cleaning products has all been a lie. And that's what you're telling people. And that is a really, really hard thing for people to accept. And then it's well, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
So even if they take it on board and agree with you, it's that, well, what do I do? How do I replace this piece of beige flesh on my plate? How am I going to replace that? It's like starting again, and it seems daunting, but it's not until you try it. And it's giving people that push. That is the hardest bit. The convenience argument is a biggie, but that argument is fading into obscurity now.
Absolutely.
Which is why I just sort of I just get depressed with these vegans who are going on about boycott McDonald's, boycott Burger King, boycott all these. Yes, they do. They are responsible solely for the murder of a lot of animals. Yes, they are. Right, they shouldn't be there. They're wrong. No, they're not the same as Asda or Tesco, because Tesco and Asda don't survive purely off the back of murder of animals. No,
right.
They are different. However, the younger generation of this country, that's their social circle. That's their place to socialise. That's where they go together. And the more options there are there for those young people to join together in, is there's more chance of dialogue and more chance of them looking at this lifestyle rather than it being something that happens to other kids. You know, other kids do that and they see them getting ridiculed. It's a bit of a vicious circle. So although I don't agree with KFC and McDonald's and Greggs, I will use them, especially Greggs, you know. Being a trucker, they're on every service station. I can go and get a vegan sausage roll. I can go and get a Belgian bun. I mean, all right, pure laziness. I should prepare my own meals and take them with me, which I do 99%
You can be lazy and vegan. That doesn't make you less moral.
Of course you can, yeah. So these companies, yeah. I mean, look at Greggs, for instance. The products are getting more and more and more, and there may be a time when they go completely vegan, because with Greg's, I mean, they're always sold out. There's still,
Yeah.
I go to Greg's and I see 2 sausage rolls left and 1 steak bake, and they're still selling out.
The
So
hype never died down about it.
No, it never died down. So there may be a point when they go totally vegan. Now, would that have happened if everybody had boycotted Greg's, you know? And
Right.
some people might come back and say, well, that's the flexitarians. That's the people who are just curious about vegan food, and that's what's driving it. And that may be the case, but
Sure.
it doesn't change the fact that if they were boycotted, those wouldn't be there. And people who normally may have looked at veganism and gone that way because it is more sort of out there for us to more convenient for us, they may not do that because the choice isn't out there. I mean,
Yeah.
even 4.5 years ago when I first went sort of plant-based and vegan, there was nothing out there. I could not find a milk for my tea and my coffee without it breaking up or going really dark coloured, and it was disgusting. Or you had to let your coffee cool right down and then put the milk in. Then
Yeah.
it tasted shit. I even drank coffee without milk in at one point and sort of got used to it. But yeah, even 4.5 years ago, it's a completely different scenario. Now it's unreal. I mean, I've got some chipotle mayonnaise there from, I've got garlic mayonnaise. All these different products now weren't even thought of, and you want to make your own, So, yeah, convenience and getting it out there is great. The vegan aisle at Asda is a great thing, and I've seen some new stuff there that I wouldn't have normally have come for. And I don't like shopping. I like to get in, get my shit, get out, right? If there's a vegan aisle there, I can go straight to that vegan aisle, think, right, there's my mayo, there's my pasta, there's this, there's that, in the basket. I'm not the one to go around looking and checking everything and seeing what's accidentally vegan. And
I will say, I'm not personally sure about this vegan aisle. I do kind of think it should still be all over the place next to the animal products, because then you've got the flexitarians who are going for the cow's milk. They see the soy milk next to it and they're like, oh, I'll try it this time.
Yeah, I do get that. I do get that side of it as well. I do understand that. But when I say the vegan aisle, it's very few products there. It seems to be all the new products, the new range, and what people wouldn't actually find. The milks are still near the milks. The sausages and all that stuff are all in the fridges near the meats anyway. It's just things like your mayonnaises, your salad creams, your Bosch cake kits. Your little pasta sauces, all that stuff there that gets lost in the full array of light stuff is in there. And also, it's nice to have that vegan word in a supermarket, because where else can you walk? You can walk down the street and see McDonald's on the sides of buses, on bus shelters, Whopper here, Greg's there. You can see all this advertising, but you never see the word vegan anywhere. However, when you're walking around Asda and you see this vegan aisle, it does pique someone's curiosity. Whereas people who are not vegan and they may be walking around, if they're not looking for it, they won't see it. If they don't know what to look for, they won't know what is vegan. So
that's very true.
Yeah, I think it is a good move. I get what you're saying. I don't think this should be a completely vegan aisle. I mean, the ideal situation maybe would be to have things clearly sort of labelled vegan everywhere where they are. Even the accidental vegan stuff is put on there maybe. But that's maybe a couple of years down the line. Maybe it's something we should campaign for.
But you're right about having that word vegan is really good, because I think some people still think it's some kind of like fringe society thing. Only weirdos do that. But you go in every supermarket, you got a big word vegan. Suddenly it's like normal.
I think it is being more and more accepted as a normality now, and I think the younger generation are the pioneers of this now, and this is where we need to target it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when the gym's open, I'm going to try and sort of I am fit and healthy now. I'm very fit and healthy. I've been doing a lot of running. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to do bodybuilding. I'm going to obviously. Well, I've done bodybuilding, so I know how to do it. But I'm going to do it naturally. And I want to be a great example to show people of my age that it's a healthy lifestyle, and it's amazing what it does for you. But also the younger people are the ones who've going to have the most influence on the changes that are going to be made in the future. So altogether, I think we can all make a big influence on perceptions of veganism, definitely. But it is going to take time. But I really do think that people your age, Reese, and younger, and the up and coming generations are the ones that really should push it forward.
Absolutely. I think most vegans in the UK are like 18 to 34 at the moment.
Is that a thing? Is that?
I think so. I might not have the numbers absolutely correct, but it's around there.
I mean, I should imagine it's true, because I think, I mean, there is a bad side to the internet, and it's all this sort of twisted, distorted reality of what is the perfect body and what girls should look like, what guys should look like, you know. Yeah, it can be a demon, but also it can be a sort of really good, useful tool, social media.
Absolutely. People are a lot more educated, not just veganism, but a lot of what goes on in the world. Particularly like bad things that the news don't want to tell you about. Like people seem to be aware of what's really going on.
Yeah, to a point. I mean,
there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Misinformation, yeah. Again, we go back to the anti-vegans and their sites again. Misinformation again, and it's. I mean, I'm hoping that only appeals to a small section of society who are really.
I think it's like ultra masculine, like how you used to be, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't like saying this toxic masculinity, but there is toxic masculinity out there, and it is. I have seen it and come across it, and it is all about this contrived image of a real man. But now I'm like in the thinking that I'm in now is like, what sort of man kills baby animals for food? How much of a man are you? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like nothing tough about that, mate. You know what I mean? You don't even kill them yourself, you pussy. You know, so and that's degrading to cats as well, saying that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's quickly talk about. So we got up to you going vegan with the ethical sides and everything, and what took you from there to then like making videos and starting to get active?
Right. So so I went. I finally called myself vegan. I was vegan because of my ethical stance. I was disgusted with what went on in the animal agricultural industry with slaughter practices, the gas chambers, the grinding chicks up, everything. And I started putting stuff on Facebook. And once you start putting stuff on Facebook, then you start getting people trolling, asking questions, being daft with you, messing about. Yeah. And because I'm this raucous, daft northern guy, and all my mates like having the crack with me, there was a lot of banter going on. But within the banter, it gave me opportunities to make statements. Even though they were saying, "Oh, can't you take a joke? Can't you take a joke?" I can take a joke, and I knew exactly what they were doing. However, their stupid questions gave me opportunities to put answers that people may really believe are not stupid questions. And so I used to have to go back and research, then come back with an answer. So this was a great training ground in vegan outreach. It was a great tool to build up my knowledge, because I build up my knowledge not by reading, but by watching stuff. And so I'm watching videos by Joey, by Evelyn Ed, Gary Urofsky. I was watching all these videos and soaking it all up and getting the answers to all my questions and coming back. And I was having these conversations over and over and over. And I was answering the same questions over and over and over again that it just soaked in, and it's just set in stone now. So it was a really useful tool. And that's what sort of led me to getting on the TV, on the TV show. And that's what led me to that, is because I saw an advert there's an application online called Star Now. I mean, anybody can join it if you're interested in acting or modelling or becoming part of a studio audience or going on reality shows or whatever. If you go on Star Now and build a profile, you get advertisements and stuff going on. And there was one advert on there, and it said, "Are you a vegan with? Are you vegan? And are you outspoken?" That was the request. So I answered the ad, got a phone call, chatted with this girl, and obviously my Facebook training, I went blah, 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 and she loved it. And I like to have a bit of a laugh. So she's thinking entertainment for TV. So when you're having chats, if you sit there and go, yeah, I don't like eating animals and blah, blah, blah. But I was going, yeah, and like I started juicing and like my fingernails were growing and my hair was growing. I was shaving my head and I felt brilliant. And then I went, I think it was my manner and the way I spoke that she saw, okay, this guy is like, he'll be great for this show, because obviously you don't put something on mainstream TV unless it appeals to people. Yeah, but I knew nothing about that show, nothing about it until the actual day. I didn't even know how it was going to run, what the format was, and nothing.
Until the day.
Nothing away. I didn't even know on the day. I didn't even know where I was going on the day.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened then? They just a moment. So this is Veganville. Right?
This is Veganville.
Just because we haven't mentioned the name of the show yet.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So what happened on the first day?
So after a year of to and fro video sort of messages, they said record a message. I actually recorded one in Turkey. They actually told me while I was in Turkey, what would you say if we did this show in South Wales? And I replied, I remember I was in a restaurant because some of the people around the pool had found me a vegan restaurant, because Turkey is shit for vegans. It's a nightmare for vegans.
Right.
It's great for vegetarians, but not for vegans. So I'm at this cafe, this restaurant, and I'm on my own. My family were there sort of eating, and I recorded this thing, and I said, "You've really dropped me in there. You're putting me in one of the parts of the world where the biggest farming community is sort of entrenched in people's tradition and psyche." And I think that was the last sort of conversation I had with them. So then they said, right, okay, we're going to go and film. I can't say too much because I'm still under NDA at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I'm always under NDA, so I can't really talk too much. But basically, they said, right, okay, we're going to send you down on a train to Bristol. You're going to come in and have a chat with us, and then we're going to take you to a station where you're going to meet the first other person. We never saw anybody else who was involved with the show, the participants.
Yeah.
So went down there, had something to eat. They did some stuff to camera, and then they said, right, we're going to take you to the station. We're going to take you to South Wales, Cardiff station. So I went there, and that's where I met Ricky at the station, which is in the show, so I can talk about that. So I met Ricky. That was the first time I met her. Never seen her before. They just said, there's a girl down there sat on the bench. Go and talk to her. So I went and talked to Ricky. Yeah, okay. So this 50-year-old bloke walks over to this like teen girl and like, oh, hello. Then they pushed us on a train, and that's when we knew we were going to Merthyr Tydfil. Gets off the train, takes us to the house. All the time they're filming us, we've got a crew around us all the time then. This was like constantly. So it was really sort of a steep learning curve.
Did you know you were going somewhere for like 3 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I knew I was going there for at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. So yeah. And then they took us to the house. And that's when Jodie came in. And then Joy walked in. And it was like, that was a really surreal moment. Because I'd actually been watching Joey non-stop ever since I got told I was going to be a part of the show, because I wanted to arm myself with the knowledge.
Wow.
Because the premise was, they said, we're going to take you to a town in Wales and you're going to try and turn people vegan. Now, in my head, I thought we're going to be knocking on doors and saying, oh, do you want to talk about veganism? That's
Have you heard of the good word about veganism?
Good word, yeah, exactly. Like Mormons, you know. So I didn't realise what was involved at all. So I've been watching Joey non-stop, even on the train down there. Every spare moment I was watching Joey's conversations, soaking it all in, and then he walks in and he was like, wow, yeah. So great. And that was it until Corinne turned up, and the week after, because he was busy in Miami.
Oh, he was supposed to come the first week, was he?
He was supposed to come the first week, but he was busy. And he had to prep for this show that we did in the show. this bodybuilding show. And Matthew Pritchard as well joined us for a couple of days, which was cool. He's a really nice guy. So yeah, and that was that, mate.
Can I ask? I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this. Did the BBC cut out anything that you wish that they had left in?
Oh, mate, I can talk about it because we shot. You see, what they've got to do, right? The first thing you've got to do is you've got to get more than enough content.
Yeah, of course.
So obviously, all the content's not going to make it. They took me to a boxing club. It's quite a famous one, the Merthyr Tydfil Boxing Club. Quite a few renowned boxers have come out of there. And I was chatting to a guy there, and he talked about how the boxers, when they wanted to sort of maintain or reduce weight, they used to chew meat and then spit the meat out after they chewed it till it gone to sort of get the nutrients, but not the fat, because they didn't want to increase the weight, which was pretty weird. And he also kept chickens, so they took me down to his chicken coop where he kept chickens, and they were like free roaming chickens. And we had a conversation about chickens and about why I thought it wasn't ethical for him to keep chickens, because he wasn't keeping them for pets, he was keeping them because they laid eggs for him. And that never made it into Veganville. We actually went to this Portuguese restaurant, me and Joey, and we did a version of they've got this meat dish, and it's basically layers of different meats piled up like that, and then sort of covered in melted cheese. And they said, okay, you try and veganize that. So we basically did it with Impossible Burgers and sausages and vegan cheeses and all that. But that never made the cut either. And then when I visited cereal dairy farmer.
That's why I wanted to talk to you about the most.
Abby, oh my God. It was, right. They took us to a garden centre because we were a little bit early. We sat and we had something to eat, me and the crew.
Right.
And they said, right, we're going to go and meet Abby. We can talk to her for about 30 minutes, and then she's got to have this meeting, and then we'll continue filming after. So we'll break for lunch when she has to go. But she's also got an NFA representative there as well.
National Farming Association.
NFU, yeah. National Farming Union, sorry, NFU.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking, right, there's me. I'm inexperienced at sort of debating people at that time.
This is someone who really knows the dairy industry as well.
And then I had Abby Reader, and this NFU official there. Yeah. Now, the NFU, they said he won't have nothing to do with it. He'll just be sort of hanging around listening to the conversation. And I thought, he's going to be policing this conversation. Yeah. That's what he's going to be doing. So then I was put on the back foot a little bit. And we got in there, and she showed me around. She was nice. I wasn't going to be an arsehole with her.
Yeah.
But there was a few things that didn't make the cut. Now, with the BBC, you've got facts off Dan, facts off Abby. Facts off Dan, facts off Abby. It's got to be like that. There's no other way. They can't do that. They can't do.
It has to try to be non-biased, right?
Exactly. More facts off Danny than there is off Abby. That doesn't work because you've. So that's the problem we've got with the BBC, because it's funded by the people of the UK. It's not an independent company.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, she had two special. I said, "Can I meet the cows? Some of the cows close up." She went, "Yeah, I'll take you to see two of our cows that we take round to schools." And I went, "Oh, you take them round to schools?" She went, "Yeah, we take these because they're really mild-mannered, and we take them round to schools." And I'm like, "Well, so do you show the kids the slaughterhouse footage or anything like that? Do you tell them what happens?" "Oh, no, we don't tell them any of that." And I'm like, "Oh, right." And then I said, "And what about the environmental impact of dairy farming?" "Oh, well, methane doesn't sit in the atmosphere that long. It's not really that bad for the atmosphere." It's okay. She's coming out with all this like non-scientific evidence of like methane doesn't sit up there, and it's not as bad because it dissipates after a certain amount of time and all this stuff, and it's only responsible for 12% of global warming, not 14% that I stated. And the minute I started talking about that, the cows decided to shit, and it shit for about 5 minutes, just pouring out. And we just all stood there like that, waiting for this cow to finish shitting, like, and it's like, in it just sod's law that all this sort of like shit comes pouring out once she starts speaking, because I mean the methane comes from the shit and from the burps of the cows. So
it was like a metaphor for her facts.
Exactly, mate. It was just pure cow shit what she was spurting out. And then she showed us the calves, and she was really sort of cagey with the calves, because I said, "Are these the male calves?" She went, "Yeah." I said, "So what happens to these? Are these slaughtered then?" She went, "Oh no, we put them onto another farm that keeps hold of them."
No,
and I said, "All right." And yes, she does. What they do is they've got this one farm where they take all the male calves for a while, and then they send to slaughter, because obviously they slaughtered for veal or for meat. So they grow
sent to like a veal farm.
So it's like, so it's basically a veal farm they sent to. Well, she didn't put it like that. She went, "Oh no, they sent to this other place where we let them out in the fields." And she was very, very shady, and that didn't make the cut. So there was a lot in there that didn't make the cut. And every time we did something, we did a piece to camera after, like a summary of what had happened during the interaction. And I went through a lot of that, because she made out, they had these bracelets on. They're like these
the cows.
health trackers. They're like health trackers. They look they're like health trackers, and they're like one of those antisocial behaviour sort of bracelets that they wear on their ankles. And what happens is they can tell how much the cow is moving if they're lame, because they don't move a lot. And and that goes to a central computer. And then this central computer then sort of estimates the feed that they're going to need because of how much they move and all this stuff. Right. And then it pours it out automatically as they go in the milking parlour. It gives this set amount of food out. And she was making out that it was all about the welfare of the cows, how she looks after them. And these bracelets, they make sure that the cows get the best possible treatment. And in the piece of camera after, I said, well, it's not about the welfare of the cows. It's more to do with keeping the cows as healthy as possible to produce as much milk as possible in the window that they are viable as milking machines. That never made the cut. So, yeah, it was very disappointing, and that's the only time that I sort of like thought,
Can I tell you what it looked like to me when I watched that?
And
I know there was stuff that they cut, because I know the sort of thing that you talk about. It looked like you went there, she showed you, and you were like, oh, actually, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and that's what I was pissed off about. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was pissed off about, because also we went into a house after, and I took some Ultra Barista with me. And we had a conversation about it. I even gave her some Ultra Barista and a tea, and she sat there and drank it and said, this is fucking delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, what if the dairy industry collapses? Will you find out another? And she said to me, she says, I'm a businesswoman.
Right.
I will do anything to make money. That's it. So if the dairy industry collapses, I will get into making oat milk. Yeah. I will grow oats and do this. Yeah, of course, it's a revenue stream. That's all I'm interested in. See, so all this never made the cut, Reese.
Even that's not even that controversial.
No, not at all.
Easily
not
they could have put that in. Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't paint the full picture, but thank God that people understood that. And after that, I made the fatal mistake of going on Twitter with the hashtag Veganville, and I shouldn't have done that. And it was, the bald trucker guy is going on about the environment, but he's driving his truck around. And
oh yeah, okay.
I'm like, it's like all this stuff. But I must have got about 30, 40 messages on various social medias, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, saying, thank you so much. You were fucking great on there. I am now vegan. And it was, I got a lot. I got a company that contacted me from the Northwest somewhere, and they said they're going to introduce vegan products into everything about the sort of business, like in the vending machine and stuff like that. Yeah. I got so much great feedback. So it's done its job. It really did do its job. And the difference was that, first of all, it was only going to go on BBC Three, because BBC Three is aimed at the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because it's basically an online platform. But when they decided to put it on BBC One and put it out there on BBC One, because they only picked certain programmes from BBC Three to put out on BBC One. Once it went on BBC One, I thought, yes, because this was going to be thrust into the living rooms of everybody in the UK, whether they liked it or not.
Right.
And it got a massive response. Over 2 to 3 million people watched Veganville when it went on BBC One who weren't, well, whether they were vegan or not, I don't know, but it went to 3 million people, and it influenced a lot of people that wouldn't normally have seen this show. And I'm really hoping they do another one, whether I'm involved or not. I really hope that there's more vegan sort of content making it onto mainstream TV.
I was going to ask you whether you knew any news about whether they would do a series 2.
No, I've not heard anything. But I should imagine, I mean, there's the Plimsoll Productions who produced it are the same people who've done a lot of nature programs, One Born Every Minute, all those type of programs, documentaries and nature wildlife programs. They're responsible for a lot of that content. So I should imagine, and they were really happy with it. They said the BBC were ecstatic with Veganville. They said it was a great program, because the BBC, they thought, they really enjoyed it. So I should imagine that maybe something along a similar vein or on that sort of vegan sort of framing will appear on mainstream TV sometime in the future. I really do. And I think after lockdown, we may see something. But as far as definites, no, there's nothing been said to me definitely whether anything will sort of appear. But I'll be sure to let you know if it does.
Please do. And if they contact you, tell them you can't do it, but your boy Reese will do it. Okay.
Yeah, my boy, posh boy. Yeah, you can show how the other half live. Yeah, definitely, mate. It's it would be an interesting thing. I mean, I was like Alan Partridge on there with the producer, Kate. I'm like, Kate, what about this? Is me all over this? I'm like, Kate, do you reckon it'd be a great thing to sort of send a vegan to different countries to see what it was like being on holiday as a vegan would be? Like, and she's like looking at me like and
Bali would be good, wouldn't it?
Who would you want to front this new TV show, Dan? You by any chance? I said, well, if you're asking, monkey tennis, So it's like, it was like Alan Partridge suggesting all these things, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we may see more vegan content. I mean, Matthew Pritchard, obviously, he's got the Vegan Chef TV programs, but you don't see that often, and you've really got to search that out. So it's not totally mainstream yet.
Are you still in contact with everyone?
I'm still in contact with everyone. Yeah, I've spoken to Jodie a few times. She still sort of likes my posts on Facebook, especially the acting posts. Ricky's I'm still in contact with. Not as much now. Still in contact with Joey. Corinne, I stayed with. I didn't stay with him. What I meant was I stayed in contact with him for a year because I went on his training program, because he's an online trainer and nutritionist. Yeah, so he actually helped me strip the weight, strip the fat. I got down to 10% body fat at one point.
Wow.
And he taught me a new way of training. So I'm going to incorporate that in my sort of bodybuilding journey in the future when the gym's open. Matthew, still get the odd sort of like from him. He keeps threatening to come on a live with me, a live stream, but he always seems to be too busy to do it. So I'll keep pestering him, and maybe I'll get
he is a busy bloke, but I think he will get him.
Yeah, I will get him. He has offered to do it.
If you want to hear more from Dan, make sure you go to Grumpy Vegan Grandad on YouTube, and that's where you can find him. This is actually a 2-part episode, so if you want to hear part 2, which focuses more on activism, make sure you come back next time. Thanks for listening.